Many IELTS candidates repeat the same words over and over. If you're aiming for Band 7+, you must show the IELTS examiner that you have a wide vocabulary. It's actually pretty simple to do this if you know synonyms. Synonyms are alternative words that have the same meaning. In this video, you'll learn 40 synonyms you must know to score Band 7+. By the end of this video, you will be equipped with a broad vocabulary that you can use in your IELTS test. If you are going to take your IELTS soon, check out my IELTS materials. There I teach you everything you need to score high. I show you step by step how to give high-scoring answers. And of course, we do many practice tests together, so you will feel confident for your test. You can find the link in the description box. And now get a paper and a pen. For each synonym you know, you get 1 point. Comment below how many synonyms you know, for example, 20, 35 or 40. Let's begin. We're going to start by looking at some common adjectives and their advanced alternatives. The first adjective that is frequently used is important. So many IELTS candidates use it. It's so common. However, if you use it too much, it may give the examiner the impression that you have a limited range of vocabulary. There are so many words that can replace important. One of these is pivotal. Let's look at this sentence. Reducing carbon emissions is an important issue in today's society. Here's pivotal. Reducing carbon emissions is a pivotal issue in today's society. Another common adjective is big. If we want to be emphatic and say that something is extremely big, we can use the adjective colossal. The new policies brought about big change in education. The new policies brought about colossal change in education. The adjective colossal can also be used to talk about the degree or severity of something rather than physical size, replacing a lot of. For instance, the earthquake caused colossal damage to the city. This is instead of saying, the earthquake caused a lot of damage to the city. On the flip side, we often see the adjective small. Another way of saying this is minute. Notice that the spelling is the same as the unit of time, a minute. However, the pronunciation is different. The difference between the two proposals is small, but it could affect the result. This changes to the difference between the two proposals is minute, but it could affect the result. This word is excellent. If used correctly, it will definitely impress the examiner and boost your score. A word that we all use on a regular basis is the simple word bad. If you want to score Band 7+, then you need to use much more advanced words than this. Let's look at the sentence. The service at that restaurant was bad. I'll never go back. You can replace bad with appalling. The service at that restaurant was appalling. I'll never go back. However, this is also an extreme adjective, meaning that we only use it when we want to talk about an extreme level or degree of something. We want to emphasize that the service at the restaurant was very bad. You will probably end up using good a lot too. For example, she has good taste in music. Again, this is a very simple word. And to show off your vocabulary knowledge, you need to use more complex words. Exceptional is a great synonym. Let's see it in the sentence. She has exceptional taste in music. As with some of the other adjectives we've seen so far. Exceptional is an extreme adjective, expressing that something is not just good, but a much higher degree of good. The next word that is commonly used is easy. A fantastic way of paraphrasing this word is by using the word straightforward. This refers to something simple, easy to follow or complete, and often without causing confusion. For example, the instructions were really easy. I could follow them without any issues. This changes to the instructions were really straightforward. I could follow them without any issues. Let's have a look at the adjective difficult. This one comes up so often in everyday language, so it's important that we know how to say it in another way. When we're talking about something that involves a lot of effort, often physical or mental effort, we can use the word arduous. Climbing the mountain was a difficult task. This changes to climbing the mountain was an arduous task. Be careful with this one because we can only replace difficult with arduous in some contexts. When we refer to the word difficult in the context of something being complicated or having a lot of problems, it is not possible to use arduous. Look at the sentence. The organization is going through a difficult financial period. In this case, we are referring to a problematic period. So the word arduous wouldn't make sense here. Arduous is only used when something involves a lot of effort, more often than not physical effort. The next word on the list is expensive. This is one we say a lot, as price tends to be a common factor when talking about the pros and cons of something. Another way of saying this in a more advanced way is with the word exorbitant. This is a fantastic way of describing an extremely high price. Let's see some examples. The additional fees that airlines charge for seat selection and luggage are expensive. The additional fees that airlines charge for seat selection and luggage are exorbitant. Also, when talking about price, we use the word cheap a lot. Instead, use economical. It means the same thing. Let's try it in a pair of sentences. Public transport is a cheap option for daily commuting. Public transport is an economical option for daily commuting. Many people, proficient English speakers included, often confuse the adjectives economic and economical. Economic is used to refer to anything related to finances and the economy, whereas economical specifically refers to a low or reasonable price. Let's compare those. Our business went bankrupt due to the appalling economic situation. Our business decided to use a different paper supplier because their products were more economical. Now, let's have a look at new. Take a look at this sentence. Scientists are working on a new approach to treatment of common diseases. Alternatively, we could say, scientists are working on a novel approach to treatment of common diseases. Again, there are some contexts where the word novel cannot be used as a replacement for new. Novel tends to be used for something that is original or unusual, something that hasn't been seen or done before. So it wouldn't work to replace new in the following sentence. I bought myself a new laptop. A laptop is a common everyday object, not an original item that has never been used before. Okay, now let's move on to some common verbs. Particularly in IELTS writing, the word increase is incredibly common and useful. That being said, we don't want to repeat it too much. So, to describe a sudden and powerful rise in numbers or figures, we can use the word surge instead. For instance, fuel prices increased overnight due to global supply issues. This changes to fuel prices surged overnight due to global supply issues. Similarly, the word decrease is used a lot to describe trends and changes. Another amazing word we can use to replace that is shrink, meaning to become smaller. Check out this sentence. The company's profits decreased due to poor financial management. You can change it to the company's profits shrank due to poor financial management. Don't forget that shrink is an irregular verb. Shrink, shrank, shrunk. The next word is very common and you'll probably use it a lot. It is the verb change. There are so many alternatives for change, but let's just focus on one good paraphrase. Modify. Take a look at this sentence. The company changed its hiring process to attract more diverse candidates. This becomes, the company modified its hiring process to attract more diverse candidates. Usually, when using the word modify, we are referring to a slight change or adjustment. If we want to talk about a bigger change, we might say transform. For example, technology has transformed the way we develop personal relationships. Now, here is a word that many people use a lot, improve. Since the future is a common topic, particularly in the IELTS speaking test, it's likely that you will talk about how things might improve in the future. Improve isn't a bad word at all, but if you want to boost your band score, try the synonym enhance. That also means to make something better. Let's see how that would look in a sentence. When the local council implemented open-air gym equipment, it improved quality of life for residents. That changes to, when the local council implemented open-air gym equipment, it enhanced quality of life for residents. It is really common to use the verb express in the IELTS exam. This talks about communicating thoughts and ideas. An even more advanced word we can use is articulate. Not only does this refer to communicating thoughts and ideas, but also to conveying them in a way that is clear and effective. Let's see an example of that. She was able to express her ideas confidently during the debate. She was able to articulate her ideas confidently during the debate. By the way, if you want more vocabulary videos, hit the like button and write yes in the comments. If you want something else, tell me your video wish in the comments, so I know what you would like to see on this channel. Now, let's explore 25 more synonyms you must know for scoring Band 7+. In many sections of the IELTS exam, it is important for you to express and identify opinions. The most common word to express this is the verb think. A lot of candidates overuse this word, so be careful not to do that. Instead of think to mention an opinion, you could also say to be of the opinion that. For example, I think that governments should do more to protect the environment. This sentence becomes, I am of the opinion that governments should do more to protect the environment. Here's another great paraphrase for discussing your understanding of certain topics and opinions. We tend to say understand a lot. Well, you can modify that using fathom or fathom out. This means understanding something thoroughly, often after thinking about it a lot. Check out this example. It is difficult to understand the mindset of close-minded people. The paraphrase would be, it is difficult to fathom the mindset of close-minded people. As I mentioned, fathom refers to a deeper understanding of something. It wouldn't be so common to say, I can't fathom German. Rather, it's used for particularly difficult problems, ideas, or opinions, like people struggle to fathom the sheer vastness of the universe. The next common word is support, in the context of giving approval or encouragement to someone or something. In this context, support can be replaced by the verb champion. So the sentence, he has always supported women's rights in the workplace, becomes, he has always championed women's rights in the workplace. Another word that is used frequently is the verb help. When talking about giving assistance to someone, we can also use the informal phrase, give someone a hand. Because this phrase is informal, you may hear it in some sections of the listening test, where the speakers are in social situations. You may also use it in the IELTS speaking test, but it is not advisable to use such informal language in the writing test. Take a look at this sentence. Can you help me move this furniture? Now, check this out. Can you give me a hand moving this furniture? Notice that the structure of the verb that comes afterwards, in this case move, is different in each sentence. The first sentence says, can you help me move? On the other hand, the second sentence says, can you give me a hand moving? So we use the ing form of move. You can also say, can you give me a hand with the furniture? I've said try quite a few times in this video, and it's a really great word when talking about achievements. For example, you can say, in spite of the difficulties, I tried to complete my project before the deadline. Instead of try in this context, we can use the excellent word endeavor. Endeavor refers to making a very serious effort to achieve something. Here's the sentence with the new word. In spite of the difficulties, I endeavored to complete my project before the deadline. As mentioned, this is used a lot when talking about putting in a lot of effort to reach goals and achievements, but it isn't used to replace try when talking about doing things for the first time. So in the sentence, I decided to try windsurfing last month. We cannot replace try with endeavor. In this case, we could use the synonym attempt. Excellent. Now, let's move on to nouns and noun phrases that come up a lot in the IELTS exam. One of the many popular topics in the IELTS exam is working life. Using the noun vocation instead of job is a wonderful paraphrase. This is an amazing word to show off your vocabulary range, but remember that vocation refers to someone's main job or occupation, usually with the connotation that it's a suitable job for you and that you should dedicate time to it. Compare. Teaching is more than a job. It's a lifelong commitment to shaping minds too. Teaching is more than a vocation. It's a lifelong commitment to shaping minds. Another common topic for IELTS speaking is education. So let's see a nice word that means school. Why not use institution? This word can also refer to any place of education, like colleges or universities too. For example, it's my goal to attend a prestigious university to study medicine. Now, the advanced version, it's my goal to attend a prestigious institution to study medicine. This is a great way to show your advanced knowledge of English vocabulary. This is probably one of the most used words in the whole IELTS exam. Problem. Lots of the exam sections make reference to various problems and issues across a wide range of topics, so it's helpful to know synonyms for this word. You may already use such synonyms like issue or challenge, but if you want to take your vocabulary to the next level, try the noun quandary. We often use this word when we want to express a state of being unsure of what to do in a difficult situation. Let's see an example of these synonyms. The government faces a problem regarding rising pollution levels. The government faces a quandary regarding rising pollution levels. Here I am saying that the government has a problem because they don't know what to do to address this situation. We recently looked at change as a verb, but we use it as a noun very regularly too. Instead of change, we might want to replace this with the word shift. For instance, if we are talking about cities, we might say, the city experienced a drastic change in the volume of traffic after the roads were restored. Commuting times dropped significantly. So we could change this to the city experienced a drastic shift in the volume of traffic after the roads were restored. Commuting times dropped significantly. It's not uncommon for IELTS exams to feature the topic of wildlife and nature. Instead of repeating the noun animal, we could refer to species. Species is an unusual noun, as it remains the same in singular and plural form. Take a look at that in the following sentences. The bat is a fascinating species with incredible hearing sensitivity. The rainforest is home to a wide range of species, including parrots, monkeys, and various big cats. Back to the topic of cities and towns. So why don't we replace city with metropolis? A word that means really big city. For example, living in a big city has its perks, like well-connected transport networks and plenty of social events taking place. Show off your vocabulary by saying, living in a metropolis has its perks, like well-connected transport networks and plenty of social events taking place. Often, we might talk about how life in cities and towns affects the people living there. To replace the word people, we can use the noun citizens, which specifically refers to the people that live in a place. This is great because it can replace the relative clause, people who live, making your speaking or writing more concise. Let's see how that works. I am of the opinion that expanding public transport networks in cities is beneficial because it can provide more options to the people who live there. I am of the opinion that expanding public transport networks in cities is beneficial because it can provide more options to the citizens. Also, housing is a popular topic in the IELTS. A good way not to repeat the word house too much is to replace it with residence. His house is located in the countryside. His residence is located in the countryside. This is so easy. We might also talk about financial topics. In order to refer to the word money, we might also use revenue. However, this only refers to money that is earned, so be careful with this paraphrase. We can't replace the word money in all contexts. Another way of saying revenue would be profit. Let's see an example. The company's money earned has increased this year. The company's revenue has increased this year. Additionally, another popular topic is crime and law. The noun law can be replaced by the more advanced word legislation. The government passed a new law on public safety. The government passed new legislation on public safety. Do you notice that the first sentence uses the article a before the noun? This is because law can be countable and uncountable, whereas legislation is only uncountable. So far, our focus has been on content words, words that carry the main meaning and idea of a sentence. It's also important to focus on the smaller components of language that help us show relationships between words and comment on them. The words that typically do this are prepositions, adverbs, and quantifiers. Let's have a look at some examples of common ones and their advanced synonyms. The word regarding is used when you are discussing a particular topic and you want to refer to that topic, similar to the word about. While the word regarding is already relatively advanced, we might want to use a more informal yet advanced version of this when it comes to, for example, regarding communication skills, I believe that these should be taught in schools nowadays. This can be changed to, when it comes to communication skills, I believe that these should be taught in schools nowadays. This is a great way of demonstrating that you have a wide vocabulary and know how to use more natural phrases, particularly in the speaking exam. Another common word is mainly, like people in my neighborhood mainly shop at chain stores. We can change the word to predominantly here. People in my neighborhood predominantly shop at chain stores. This is such an excellent way of showing that you know advanced vocabulary. Let's look at the common word very. You may use really a lot too. Now and again, replace both of them with the fantastic word extremely. Here's a sentence. Learning synonyms is a very or really good way to boost your band score. Now, look at how those can be replaced. Learning synonyms is an extremely good way to boost your band score. Don't forget to change a to an in that sentence. Also, the modifier extremely is typically used with gradable adjectives, which describe qualities that can exist in different degrees. For example, extremely hot, extremely difficult. However, extremely should not be used with non-gradable adjectives because these describe qualities that are either at their maximum or binary in nature. For instance, dead, perfect, unique. If we want to talk about a large quantity of something, our go-to word is usually many. An advanced paraphrase of this is a plethora of. Have a look at this sentence. There are many reasons why people choose to travel solo. We can change this to, there are a plethora of reasons why people choose to travel solo. We may also talk about an undetermined quantity of something, an amount that isn't big or small. Most of the time, we'd use some to express this. But how about trying the synonym a handful of? Let's have a look at that. Only some students were selected for the university scholarship. Only a handful of students were selected for the university scholarship. Last but not least, let's explore some common linking phrases and their high-level alternatives. An essential linking word is however. It's a great way to show contrast between ideas, but to make it more advanced, we can use that being said. For example, the economy is improving. However, unemployment remains high. That becomes the economy is improving. That being said, unemployment remains high. When concluding, a common phrase is "in conclusion," but using "in a nutshell" is a much more natural concluding phrase and allows you to show off your vocabulary. For example, in conclusion, the proposal has more advantages than disadvantages becomes "in a nutshell, the proposal has more advantages than disadvantages." A wonderful synonym for the linker although is albeit. For example, we could change the sentence, "The film was well directed," although a bit predictable, to "The film was well directed," albeit a bit predictable. This always goes in between two clauses. We don't put it at the beginning of a sentence. If used correctly, this one will really impress the examiner. There is a great synonym for "in general." That phrase is "broadly speaking." For example, you might say, "In general, most people prefer flexible working hours." Try that with the new phrase. Broadly speaking, most people prefer flexible working hours. IELTS is super easy with synonyms like this. You'll definitely need to give examples throughout the IELTS exam. It's incredibly important. For most candidates, the easiest way to do this is by using "for example." This is simple and clear, but when repeated many times, gives the impression that you don't have a wide range of vocabulary. An amazing paraphrase for this is "as a case in point." So let's imagine you say, "Some governments are fighting against plastic waste." For example, Canada has prohibited single-use plastics. Now, with the new phrase, "Some governments are fighting against plastic waste," as a case in point, Canada has prohibited single-use plastics. If you use them correctly, these words really can show off your vocabulary and improve your IELTS score. That's it. That's 40 synonyms you must know to score Band 7+ on the IELTS. I hope you guys liked this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you're notified when the next video comes out. Also, share this video with your friends so they can improve their IELTS score too. See you in the next video!